All right. Welcome, everyone. This is Brad from Board Game Geek. I'm here with Dave from Board Game Geek. Dave, how are you doing this
Doing good,
evening?
Brad. How is
Good.
everyone? Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Are they?
Uh, all the
You're
people that
answering
are
for
watching are
everybody.
great. Yeah.
All zero of
I
them.
can say with a firm hand that everyone that's watching is doing well. But again, the purpose of this is not necessarily to watch live. We will be posting this after the fact. So please listen to it or watch it as you will. And tonight we're continuing our discussion on the best digital board games, mainly mobile board games of 2015. And yeah, how did you like the last discussion, Dave?
I thought it went well. I won. I won all of the ones I wanted. So, because it's a contest, right?
It is a
I
contest
beat
for
I
every
beat you down until I got what I wanted. So,
except for our recommended old games, we kind of gave up and just
yeah, we gave up. But that was going to be a real big tussle. So we just gave up on that one.
we're just like, we'll just recommend them all. Here's
You
what we're
should
still playing.
you should mention too that not only can you watch this later on YouTube, but we will also be writing up posts on the blog for
Right.
this as
Sorry.
well.
Yeah,
So
Yep, exactly. I forgot about that. Yeah, we'll be writing them up like we've done in previous years.
if you'd rather read than watch, which I don't understand why, because I mean, look at Brad. He's it's like Will Wheaton.
Just like
Um,
we.
but if you'd rather just read, they will go up probably next week. So
Yep. And also, if usually we do a community voting for best game of the year, I think is what we've done in the past. We're folding that into the Golden Geek this year, I believe. So no, we'll
that's
be doing that. So usually there's like a
okay.
video game category, but there should be like a specific category, I believe. But I'm still working all that out. So,
All right. Good luck.
but I have reached out about it like before the nomination period went up, which is earlier than I usually try to make it happen. So
All
um,
right.
we'll see. So last time we went through four categories. Maybe I can just recap them real quick. We had best interactive story with Sorcery Part 3 winning and To Be or Not to Be as the runner up. And then we had best PC port, which is a PC game that was brought to mobile with Don't Starve winning and Legends of Grimrock coming in second place or runner up. And then achievement design, we had Coup, which was a handout to me winning, and Her Story as runner up. And then for our old games, which became recommended old games, we have Hearthstone, Talisman, Galaxy Trucker, and 80 Days in no particular order. All right.
Oh, there's an order,
Oh,
but we'll keep it to ourselves.
but you won't know it.
That's
We could
right.
probably talk for another half hour about that, but
Well,
because
let's not.
I just won't relent on Hearthstone. Uh, all right. So the first category we're going to talk about tonight is biggest surprise of 2015. Um, Basically, this is like a game or happening, an occurrence that surprised us this year. I
Could
think
be
it's
anything. Could be a game or else, right? Could be anything that surprised us in 2015.
right. That has to do with
Yeah.
this. I mean, like,
Oh, that has to do with games, right?
yeah,
Okay.
because like otherwise, I think like Donald Trump would be
I
on
had a
this list
bunch.
somewhere.
Yeah.
But um, so wow, politics already. I'm doing
There
great
you
tonight.
go. Yeah. Good job.
So we could read through this list. Yeah, I guess I'll just go down it real quick. So we have some games and then some things that happened. So Capitalism Quest, Chesh, Coup, Fallout Shelter, Sid Meier's Starships, Subterfuge, Dominion actually being released, Magic Puzzle Quest, Her Story, To Be or Not to Be, and no Seven Wonders coming out, even though
We've
reasons.
seen it for over a year now working, but yeah.
Yeah, and it was at one time playable on my iPad, but that is now
But
lapsed,
it,
so I
yeah,
no longer can play it, um, which makes me sad actually. So
it's
maybe
understandable.
we should probably explain why each of these is surprising, maybe because it might not be
And
obvious in
I
every.
will let you do the first few at least. So
Okay.
'cause
Uh,
I have not played Capitalism Quest, so I don't know where you're
so
going with that one. So
I, Capitalism Quest is this little indie game experiment almost. Basically, it's this persistent world, pixel art, grid based, where you can just start claiming territory by building structures that you own. Um, and it was surprising to me because like it's not really a free to play game. It's got timers in it. You build factories and they give you resources and things like that. But this weird community sprung up around it, which I joined for a little while, mainly on a Touch Arcade forum. But like people were like doing like civil engineering projects. They're like everyone work together. We're going to build this road that spans the entire map. Or I ended up working on a road that circled the entire map, and it took me like 2 weeks. Not constantly, but uh, whenever I could check
constantly,
in, just adding to the road.
you
Um,
didn't sleep for 2 weeks.
yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I guess it's hard. It's kind of a one-sided conversation, but
No,
I
that's
feel like
I think we should throw out why it surprised you. So I think that's fine.
yeah, it just was this little game that ended up being like something I played a ton and
Okay.
found to be this really interesting experience because you would notice like you start like I wandered off into the wilderness where no one else was, and then eventually around me just sprung up all these other people that were playing and they built
So is
stuff.
it so is it only online? This is you're always like playing with a bunch of other people.
Yeah,
It's like a
it's
group.
always online,
Okay.
and you don't see them on the map. I'm not exactly sure how it's negotiating server stuff if you're like trying to build in the same area right at the same time, but you see their structures and it says who did it, who put that structure
Oh,
there, and that kind of stuff. And there was also a leaderboard of like the richest person, and that's why it's called Capitalism Quest, I guess. Uh,
of course.
so yeah, that was why that game surprised me.
Okay.
Should we
Okay.
do one that you want to talk about since because if
Um,
we just go down the list, I think a lot of them are
well, I can
ones that
start
I've
talking about them from the third one down. So I think the only
okay.
one that I'm totally at a loss at are the first, well, that one and Chesh I've only played like twice. So
Okay. I don't know. It
um,
just surprised me like what it was. It was just an interesting concept that kind of
it
came out
was
of
that's
nowhere.
true. It
So
is
probably a
crazy.
weaker selection on this list, but it did surprise me. I don't because I got an email about it and I was like, yeah, I don't know, and then ended up being something more
That you ended up playing.
than
Yeah,
I thought. Yeah,
that usually does surprise me. So there's a
we could
lot of
probably.
games that that I'm like
That's
seriously,
true.
and then I'll play it and end up playing it for a week, and I'm like, holy crap, what just happened?
So that's why I wanted to mention it here, but we can probably just
Okay,
make that an easy out because I think it's yeah. Anyway, is there one
okay.
that you want to talk to?
Um, well, I guess I'll go with her story just because that's the first one that came to mind when this category was given to me. And really, the thing that surprised me was I was expecting it to be well, I mean, I heard it was like all full, video and the screenshots or whatever I saw of it looked cheap. And so I was expecting it to be like something straight out of 1994, that you put in your CD-ROM
Right.
but it ended up being brilliant. So I guess that just I went into it with pretty low expectations of like, okay, the acting is going to be terrible. It's going to be cheesy and ridiculous, and it ended up being none of those things. Um, so I guess it surprised me just that it was as good as it was. So
Right.
that's the reason I threw it on there.
That makes sense. I mean, I again still haven't played it even in the past 2 days. I know I had 2 whole days to play it.
I'm gonna
Um,
have to gift it to you just so
well,
you
I
play it.
think I might even own it
Oh
already,
my god!
but I don't know actually. But yeah, I think that one definitely deserves to stay for now because at least for me, it came out of nowhere. I wasn't aware of it, and I think the kind of game it is, you kind of have to not be aware of it, or like they couldn't demo it at
Right,
PAX or something. It
right.
would just not work.
I just remember writing the first few stories when we got press releases, and it was like, okay, here's something I need to write about, and it was like trying to write a post, you're like, oh my god, this is gonna be this is hokey, and this is like, are you kidding me? So I don't know. It just totally that one probably that's for me the game. That's the game that probably
Was most surprising.
surprised me the most this year. But there are other things I think that are more worthy of this award on the list yet. So
Well, I can offer one up to talk about, and then I think we can remove it.
okay,
So Coup, which I'm a pretty big fan of. Uh,
ooh,
I may be defending it later on in a little bit, but I, I just found it surprising because they pulled that game off
that,
digitally,
that that was surprising actually. Yes,
and it
I would
actually
agree.
works more or less. I feel like pretty well.
It
Uh,
does. Yeah, I think they changed the rules enough a little bit, and they made it work in a surprisingly good way for what it was. Which I mean, frankly, Coup should not work on your iPhone, but it does. So
and the way they did the chat, I felt like was really cool because you could kind of get a sense for and when someone made a choice, you could tell them what to do. Like, oh, I think that's right, or I think you're wrong, or that kind of thing.
right,
And
right,
it kind of gave that sort of banter that you'd have.
yeah, a little bit, yeah,
So I found
yeah.
it surprising. I don't know if it was like super surprising. Like I think we knew it was coming. I think it was
I'd say keep it
excited
on
about it.
there for now. I,
Okay.
I think it was. I would say that it reminded me a little bit of Galaxy Trucker from. Was that last year or 2 years ago? 2 years ago. No, 2014 was Galaxy Trucker.
Yeah, I think it's 2014.
But it's the same kind of thing where you just don't expect it to work, and it not only does it work, but they change the rules and bend it a little bit to make sure that it works, and it works well on a mobile device. So I think they
Right.
did a good job that way. So
Cool. All right, we'll keep that one for now.
yeah, keep
This,
it for now.
this one's going a little slower, but no, I'm just kidding. But we can keep talking about them.
Sid Meier's Starships. The surprise here, if anyone's wondering, at least when I see the word, the biggest surprise is how bad it was. Um,
That's not why I put it on here, but go ahead.
oh, it's not okay. I assume that's what it was. I thought it was Drek, but um, and just the fact that it was Sid Meier's had his name on it, and I mean they were promoting it a lot. It wasn't like they slid this thing out under the dark of night. This was, I mean, they were doing a lot of like live demos of it, and it was a big deal that that game was out there. And then it turned out to be quite underwhelming, let's say. But
Yeah. Well, so the reason I somewhat agree with you, I enjoyed it. I felt like it was like a little heavier than Civilization Revolution 2.
yeah,
And
yeah, okay, yeah,
so for me, it was like, oh, yeah, slightly heavier. And I was pretty big into Civ 5 at the beginning of this year. So this was kind of like, ooh, like a to go version that's a little heavier than Civ Rev. And I don't know, the graphics were
doesn't look like
cool.
a cartoon. Yeah,
But the surprising thing to me was that this was available like on iPad first or simultaneously with the other versions.
yeah,
Like they're like, hey,
like
we're releasing a new game, and
yeah,
it's on
that's
mobile.
true.
But
That was a big surprise, and that's actually something I wish we would see more of. But and we are seeing a little bit more of it. But
XCOM
um,
2.
oh yeah, right. Don't
We,
hold your breath on that
we were
one.
just talking about Punch Club, which came out like just a
Yeah,
couple days after.
that's it.
I mean, it's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
there are games like that that are coming out, if not right at the same time, pretty darn close to when they're being released on PC.
But I'll agree with you that
So
in terms of some other games on this list, just it's overall, it was
yeah,
surprising that it came out, but yeah, it's overall lack of quality. Again, I'm the guy who played Heroes of Might and Magic, even though it was pretty terrible UI experience, um, just because I liked some of the gameplay mechanics. And this, in a lot of ways, I mean, once you get down to the last two civs or three civs, it gets so broken in a lot of ways. It's just a
yeah,
slog to just fight, and you have to keep fighting the army over and over. They never deteriorate. Like
right,
between turns, they always come back. And sometimes the AI would like team up. The third AI would team up with the second one, and they would instantly win
yeah.
with you having no. Anyway, so you have to kind of whittle down the last two opponents equally, and then leave one left. But anyway, yeah, I'm deleting it.
Yay.
So I guess I need to talk to one. Uh, do you I can talk to Subterfuge. I don't know if you. So
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure why it was a big surprise, but so go ahead and
so maybe I just have less context to it, but I just thought the whole concept is pretty surprising and just how involved it is. But
yeah.
this is, I feel like this is also kind of this is a game that I wish that I had played more, and I feel like this is kind of sort of a hipster choice, like not a hipster choice, but just like I wish that this game had the impact that I think it should have had on my life, but it hasn't had it. So
Yeah.
it like the whole concept of this persistent board game over a week,
Yes.
or kind of relates to like space travel and the way you there are timers, but they're like really slow timers and that kind of stuff.
Right.
Um, anyway, I'm gonna delete it,
The
but
timers are what make it work. I mean, it wouldn't work without those. I mean, unlike free to play junk, the timers in this game are actually a good thing. So,
right,
but I think the problem I had with the game was just, I mean, it's the whole backstabbing and all that stuff, which I don't mind playing those kind of games with like my friends and buddies, but I couldn't get a bunch of them to download this game and play it with me. It just wasn't happening. So then it was like, okay, then I'm not gonna go play with strangers. I'm not gonna play a big game of subterfuge with people I don't know. So,
right.
and mainly it's just because it's a mean game. So I just, don't feel comfortable doing that with strangers. So I'd rather be mean to people I like. So
That's fair.
yeah.
Well, and
So
my problem with the game was like, oh, now I have to pick like a week that I know that I'm gonna have some time to check
a
in on
bunch
it,
of time to do it right. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
those weeks don't come like even on like holidays, right? Like it's like, well,
Right.
I've got all these other commitments I have to do,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
so, or I want to play something a little more grand during those times or something. All right, it's gone.
All
So,
right.
what do you want to talk about next?
Let's do Magic Puzzle Quest.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Magic the Gathering Puzzle Quest.
Oh yeah.
It is the biggest surprise. Why it's a surprise is that it didn't suck. I mean, it was actually a really good game. I actually really like it, and it's still on my iPhone, which doesn't happen very often with a lot of free to play puzzly kind of stuff like that. But it's fun. It feels like Magic for dummies. It's definitely not super strategic like Magic would be, but it's got that feel. So if you're like me and you don't play Magic anymore because you don't have the time or the energy to keep up with everything and make your own decks and all that, it's a fun way to get that fix, and it's easy to get into and just play and have fun. And the
Yeah.
paywall was very low. I thought. I mean, I don't think I've spent any money in the game at all, and I've played it quite a bit. So um, there are timers, which is annoying, but not so bad that it turned me off completely. So
Yeah,
um,
I totally agree. I was talking to a certain unnamed journalist who was going out to Wizards of the Coast to look at some mobile game, and I was like, oh my gosh, is it Magic Online finally? Like we're finally getting the iPad version of that,
yeah.
and it ended up being this. But so my jealousy died
So
down after the fact once I figured out what it
yeah.
was. But
So your surprise was that you were disappointed. That was the big surprise. Okay.
no, no, I mean, but then yeah, playing it does really well. It's been a little challenging to get into deeply just because I don't know. I wish the progression were a little more motivating or something.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I found it really. I agree. I think it definitely deserves to stay on this list for now. It.
Well, I would say kill it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because while it is, I mean, it's a very good game, and I mean, I was surprised it was good. That's kind of like, we're kind of damning it with faint praise, right? I mean,
That's
it's not a great game. This
fair.
thing's not going to knock out Hearthstone or anything. So we're kind of like saying, hey, game was above average. It should have sucked.
Right. That's fair.
Uh,
All right.
so
Fine.
I was like, it's good and whatever, but I don't know that
I'm hovering
it
on the
wasn't
button.
worthy of. Yeah, do it, kill it.
All right. That's fair. I'll give you that.
I would say the
Uh,
same thing with Fallout Shelter myself, but
well, let's talk about that one. I mean, that game
okay.
literally was a surprise, right? Like they're like, hey, Fallout 4 is coming out. Also, there's this mobile game that you can
It was
play.
a surprise. The only really surprising part to me was that it wasn't completely terrible.
See,
So
I actually thought it's a pretty good game.
that's what I
Uh,
mean. Yeah, but when it was released, it had all the earmarks of a hey, this is a cash grab because we just releasing Fallout. This is a total cash grab. It's free to play, and but it ended up not being a crappy game. It ended up being decent, and so I
right.
guess that was the surprising part to me was not that it existed, but that it existed and wasn't
Well, my favorite moment from
complete.
that game is in my first lunchbox. I opened some lingerie, which
Nice.
added like 5 charisma or something. So I'd always just like swap it between whoever I wanted to go make babies. It was kind of gross actually that
Yeah,
same piece of clothing was shared by like everyone. But anyway,
it's after the apocalypse. What do you
yeah,
want?
exactly. You got to deal with it. But yeah, you're probably right. I put it on here just because it like literally by marketing design was a surprise. Uh,
Yeah,
and was pretty fun. I mean, if you're looking for an idle game, this is one definitely worth checking out. Like a game where you just check in a little bit and do some things every once in a
yes,
while.
I would say yes. Don't play Clash of Clans. Play Fallout Shelter.
When you don't have to worry about like, there's kind of an end to it. At least there was. They might have
True.
changed it, but
That's true. Yeah.
uh, so you don't have to worry about like, yeah, spending money forever or whatever on
Right.
it. All right, it's gone.
Okay,
All
let's get to
right.
the juicy ones.
Let's talk about some of the not game. Well, we got one more game. Let's talk about the last game.
All right, to be or not to be. This is not. We're gonna get rid of it, but because it's just not big enough. But the surprising part is that this was a Tin Man Games game book, and if you're familiar at all with Tin Man games, they're all the same pretty much. I mean, the words are different, but they have an engine and they use that engine, and everything fits into that, and they all look the same. And they all kind of play the same.
Right.
And this was completely different, and it actually was funny, and it actually worked, and it was actually uh, like the kind of it was a game book that I played over and over and over again instead of like playing it once or twice after getting to the couple different endings and then putting it away. But um, so I don't know. I mean, but that's a saying. It was a really good game. Is that a big surprise? I don't know. That's why I'm saying we're probably just gonna nix it. But
Yeah, I mean, they've continued to up the ante and surprise us, I think. Like, and this one, yeah, was genuinely funny. Like, remember the I forget what it was called. It's from some comic artist. Anyway, it's this like kind of mock Star Wars sci-fi game book. I'm trying to remember what it was, but anyway,
from the Tin Man made
from
or
Tin Man, yeah,
the Trial of the Clone or whatever it
yeah,
was. Is
yeah,
that the
Trial of
one?
the
Yeah.
Clone, yeah. That game was trying to be funny, and
Right.
again, I think it's working with the source material, but there's something weird going on in my house. Sorry, uh, but
Yeah.
the sorry, um, but the I'm really apologize. There's just a lot of screaming that I can hear all of a sudden. But yeah, this game was actually funny, and yeah, like you're saying, wanted you to
There.
replay it over and over.
I'm
So
back. Can you hear me now?
I can, yeah.
All right. Good. I don't know. I have
But
a
yeah,
really crappy
we
connection
can
here. I
kill
don't know
it.
what's going on.
I don't know what we're gonna keep if we kill this, but uh, anyway, yeah, we can kill
You don't know what we're gonna keep if we kill it to be or not
it.
to be.
Well, I don't. I mean, I, so let's talk about the things that aren't games. So, I mean, this one's pretty snarky, and so I don't think we'd want to keep it. But
It was a
Dominion
surprise.
was actually released this year after
Yeah.
4 years, 3 years,
I want to
many years.
say 3, yeah, maybe 4. Yeah, 3 or
I mean,
4
even like
years.
Gen Con 2013, we literally talked, or 14, we talked to the CEOs of a different company than the one that
Yeah.
actually released the game. Like they were there, right? That was the year, I'm pretty sure. And then,
Um, might have been the year before that
okay,
because I
right.
don't think I was there when we talked to Dominion at all. So, and I've only been there the
Oh, then it
last two
must have been the year
years.
before. I guess it
I
was
think it was the year
2013.
before. Yeah.
And they're like, it's coming out later this fall. And they had
Oh
it
yeah.
working on a tablet while it was there. Like it wasn't an iPad, but it was some Android thing that was giant.
Yeah.
But like It's out. It's it hasn't changed in 4 years at all.
No, no, it looks just like it did when Goku had it first started on their webpage.
So
And feels the same and looks the same, and yeah, I I don't know. It was pretty awesome. The biggest surprise about Dominion being released is how many people commented on our thread about Dominion being released. I think it was our biggest thread of all time. But
that's
um,
fair. And I mean like it I don't know. I don't know if it's worth putting on the list because it's mainly like a snarky, like, aha, it finally came out kind of thing. But I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, every year we talk about. I mean, that was kind of the and Dominion's coming this year at some point. So at some point it had to come true, right? So I guess how big of a surprise was it? It finally actually happened, but we kind of knew at some point it was going to happen. It was just this year was the year. So yeah, and we don't need snark on the
On the
list.
list. Okay. But we did mention it here. So if you're listening later on, you got your dose of snark from us.
Yeah,
Now, this one I actually think might be worth keeping. But
this would be my winner actually, but
and I wouldn't say just this game. I would kind of broaden it to say like big games all got delayed this year. But if you want to talk to it first,
um, yeah, I guess that the I mean this one is kind of the
it is the
right now. This is the
crown holder.
gaudy of like what the hell is going on? Because I mean we saw it being played at Gen Con 2014.
And again,
And then this year, Gen Con, I mean, it was just out on the floor. He showed it, Antoine showed it to us, like, and it just worked. I mean, there was no like,
I mean, it worked in
there was no marketing
2014
people
too.
around. There was no, well, yeah, but at least that was like in a back room, and it was
Right,
very,
that's true. That's true.
this was just, hey, Antoine had his iPad out, and showed it to us. There's no like, and you've been in the beta. I know I have not, I wasn't, but I know you were in it and played it,
Right.
and it was announced in August or June or something like that, and
Yeah. It was
I
when
don't know. It's weird. Like I don't know what's going on, and we've been told multiple times. I think in 2014 or 2013 that Seven Wonders is imminent, and we've been told that like two or three times now, and it's still in beta. And
right. I
I
mean,
don't know. It's just strange.
some of this could have to do with the Asmodee kind of growth and their now kind of digital. I mean, this is all speculation, of course, but
Yes,
they are growing this kind of digital department, and it could be that they're trying, maybe they're adding like some sort of account system that's across all, or something like that.
sure.
Though we did see Splendor this year again, but didn't have anything like that. So, uh,
No, that's
which
true.
we'll talk about in a little bit. But um, uh, yeah, I think it's really surprising, and it kind of colored the entire year. So uh, I feel like maybe that's our winner of all of these.
I mean, just the fact that it's a running joke on the blog now. I mean,
How
and it
many
has
days are
been
we
for a
at
long
anyway?
time. It's over 180 now. I know that. So it's over 6 months.
Right.
Um, but it's just I don't know. It's crazy. Like there have been other games that got delayed. I mean, Through the Ages, but those were games that were first of all we know why they got delayed. I mean, we've been told. That's the
Right.
other thing. Seven Wonders, we have no idea. Like there's complete radio silence. So
Well, and what we've
um,
seen like through the ages is looks early, right? Like we've seen running on an iPad look like an early
yes,
version.
we,
When I
we've never
saw
right.
or when we
Right.
saw Galaxy Trucker for 2 years at Toy Fair and Gen Con, it
Yeah.
looked like parts of it were working, but other parts were not working.
Yes. True.
I've played Seven Wonders, and that game has all both the leaders and what's the other
Yeah.
cities or whatever
Yeah.
expansion working, online play working. Like it's just
Yeah.
like it looks complete. So I agree with you. Okay, so then for second place, I'm gonna offer up Capitalism Quest to go off just because I'm the only one that's experienced that, and I don't even know if what that experience is today. I haven't played it in a few months, and so
Okay.
it could be a completely different thing
Okay.
now. So So the battle's really between Ku and her story.
Well, I guess I would take her story off then because the same reason you just took off Capitalism Quest. So,
Well, I'm
um,
not saying just because I played it. I just mean like the game is it's such a small game. I don't even know if the servers are running anymore. I don't know
sure,
if like you know
yeah.
a
Um,
wasteland now, like Mad Max.
I agree with Koo. I mean, it definitely is. They did everything they needed to. But then again, we might be talking about Koo in a minute or two here for different awards. So,
Yeah,
um,
I mean, yeah, I feel like from a digital board game perspective, Coup is definitely surprising because again, it's a game that shouldn't have worked
yeah.
worked really well, but I I don't know.
Well, you're the editor. I think you got to make a choice
I
on
have to
this
make a
one.
call. Uh, my vote would be Coup. So,
All right,
what do
then
you
put
think?
Koo up there.
All
Yep,
right,
do it.
it might be on a few more of
Can't
these
really
lists.
argue with either one of them. So they're both,
They're both surprising.
decent
We could do a
games.
second runner-up as well.
No, that's all right. I think we'll keep it
Okay.
simple. Keep it the two.
All right. So that was quite a long discussion. This one I don't think will be as long actually, which is funny.
No, we should.
But so
Yeah,
this is kind of confusing, but and maybe we won't do this next year if it turns out people are like you're really confusing. But so I kind of separated out, and not necessarily the game that wins this couldn't also win one of the games of the year, but basically like this category, best board game port, is an actual pre-existing board game that was ported to digital platforms.
this in cardboard. Yes. Okay, makes sense.
So it had, and the reason I separated them out is because there's a lot of board game experiences that came out this year that don't necessarily have like
Yes.
card crawl and death watch and things like that that don't actually have uh counterparts
Right.
but are very much board game ish. I mean, card
Ish.
crawl definitely could be played on a table, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I would think so. It would be, yeah, a little mathy, but
Hmm.
you have to keep track of hit points and stuff. But yeah, it could be done.
So let's see. So on this list, and this isn't everyone that was released, but
This might be.
actually it might be close to.
It
Uh,
was not. It was. Well, we should probably preface this by saying best board game port 2015 was not a great year for board game ports
no,
on iOS. So um, they're
definitely
not bad ones. There weren't really any that just sucked, but there weren't any that like ended up so
blew
decent.
up.
I played all the time, and like in past years, there were games that kind of overtook my life, and that didn't happen this year. So
So we've got Santiago de Cuba, Coup, Camel Up, Brass, Splendor, or Splendor, Xenoshift, Picomino, Magic Duels Origins, La Havre, the Inland Port, and Steam Rails to Riches. Is that the full title?
that's the
Martin
full
Wallace's
title.
Steam.
Yeah, Steam Rails to Riches. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't. Maybe this one we can just start picking things off of this list.
Well, they're definite ones that aren't that I wouldn't uh, pick as the
Yeah,
best. I
I
mean,
agree with you as well. But
um, I would say the only one on the list I've not played is Le Havre. So
okay,
um, I
well,
don't
and
know.
I
Do
think
you want
that
to?
one it's really well done, but it's a pretty small kind of two-player game. I liked it because like it was the first Lav game that I could figure out. Um,
Oh, nice.
I don't know if I ever
Congratulations.
figured out the other one, but not very well ever. I feel that same way about Agricola too. But um, like when I have all the choices in front of me and no direction of like what
Your
I have to go
brain
with.
wants.
Yeah, so we can remove that. I think it's a really fine game. It actually, if these are like coming off in rank order, it's definitely not last place on this list,
Right. No.
but
Right. So
but it's not going to go for the distance. So
okay.
goodbye, Lava, the inland port.
Okay. How about Magic Duels?
um, Yeah,
How do you feel about that, Brad?
so I feel like calling it a board game port is maybe a little generous on my part, but no, I mean the full
Well,
gameplay is
it
there.
is. Yeah,
But
it's yeah.
it is the best Magic game yet.
It
Um,
is. How and I'm not a Magic player, so I mean I did pick it up when it came out and I did mess around with it and it is very good. But from everything I've heard, like it hasn't really worked for like the last 3 or 4 months.
well,
Um,
so I haven't played in the last 3 to 4 months,
yeah,
so it's
yeah,
very
we had
likely
this
that it's
talk
not.
over at Pocket Tactics where it got mentioned, and there was a rather large storm about how the game doesn't even work. So,
All right, well
um,
then that's
and
fair.
I'm not tested. I know they came up with a patch right before Christmas that I think might have fixed that, but I know then for a good chunk of the year, it wasn't working on a lot of people's
Right.
devices. So,
Well,
um,
so I'm assuming they fixed it, or some people are still working 24 hours a day to try to fix it. Uh, but
you would think, but they had this problem with the last year's version too, where it was out for like 2 or 3 months. So
that's true.
I don't
That's
know.
true.
I'm not sure what's going on with Wizards and their magic.
But I don't think it's going to make it to the end either. But I just want to point out that it is. I think they're heading in the right direction. One app that they
Yes.
just add expansions to, and a really clear, I think, fairly clear in-app purchase system, like just buy card packs. Um,
Yeah. I
uh,
think yeah, and the fact that they're not going to keep rebooting it every year and stuff, I think is great. So
and they do need to revamp the multiplayer if they really want it to compete with the game that they wanted to compete with. Um, because just adding a decent IAP system doesn't mean anything. If like, I don't want to spend a lot of money just to play against the AI, right? I want to spend money to build decks to beat people online. And there's Game Center, I think, still, but it really needs to be expanded to like a proper online system that they
yeah,
control more of. But yeah,
sure.
okay, it is gone.
All right.
All right, I guess I should suggest one. Uh,
Yeah. The rest of
uh,
them are fine. They're none of the rest of them are. I can't really pick on any of them for being terrible or
so
bad.
so I
They all
can.
have. I'd say they all have chinks in the armor though that
That's
you can
true.
easily pick on. So
I think Camel Up was an interesting port. I think for the property that they had, it's too bland. Does that make
okay.
sense? Like it's this
It.
really simple
I.
game.
Yep.
Have you played it? Or I know you
I
had when
played
we
it
talked
like
last time.
twice when it came out, and then completely forgot about it. I think you're right. I think because it just didn't do anything to keep my attention. It was just a game. It wasn't like, oh my god, I get to play Camel Up on my iPad, which is weird because I do like Camel Up actually. It's a game that I've played and I do enjoy. So but yeah, it's just I don't know. I was just like, okay, whatever.
Well, if there's a game where you can like go with cartoony graphics and like have camels that
Yeah.
stack on top of each other and make like funny faces and stuff like that, like
Yes.
that's the
Yeah.
game. Like it felt like, and I mean no disrespect by this, uh, but it felt a little bit like a Codito game to me. Um,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
but a Codito game style makes sense for the kind of games that Codito made, right? Like
Right.
if you're gonna make a heavy Euro, like I don't want what's Tigris and Euphrates. I don't want cartoony graphics. I
To
like
be
the way
silly. Right.
it's portrayed, but there's also a lot of depth there and a lot of information I need to know. Whereas Camel Up, one, there's not that much information. And two, they don't even tell you some of the pertinent information very easily
Right.
either. So
The other the other thing too is it doesn't have. Well, I guess I don't remember. Did it have online multiplayer? I don't think
I,
it did.
I'd have to check. Again, yeah, I agree. I played it a little bit the first night, and I enjoy the game Camel Up, but yeah, it just
I don't know. Regardless of the online multiplayer, I would say that's right now. I'm looking at this list. That's probably the one I would consider the weakest one on the list. But
yeah.
um,
So maybe we can talk about this. Well, I kind of want to talk about the two train games together, trainish games. But
you mean the two Martin Wallace games?
I guess Martin Wallace game. Is
Okay.
Brass not a train game? I don't know. It's got
Well,
trains in it, sort of.
you do get to lay track in the second half of the game, but yeah, that's about it. It's not
Oh,
a
right,
pick
because
up and
it's first.
deliver.
Right, right. I forgot
Yeah.
it's. Um.
But okay, well, let's talk about
Well,
Martin Wallace games.
we could talk about Santiago de Cuba before we go there, but I don't know.
I think that's better than the two Martin Wallace games, so let's do that.
Okay, so
Well,
I'll
I
let
shouldn't say
you.
that. I think, well, I think it's better than one of the Martin Wallace games. Let's put it that way.
So I have to be
Um,
honest. I tried to play these games and I got through them for the respective reviews, but I am no expert on either of these games and have not picked them up since then. So I'd love to hear your opinion.
okay.
That's what I'm saying. Sorry.
Um, well, Steam is a good implementation of Steam. Um, but what kills it is there's no multiplayer. And it's not the kind of game that you're going to play against the AI. There's just too much going on. Um,
Okay.
for a game like that, it just killed it. Like I lost interest after like two games because it was like, all right, you know, whatever. It's still a good port. I mean, it's great if you want to play against the AI, just to practice stuff and learn how to play. It's awesome, and it's really, it looks great and it plays really nice. There's a couple UI issues that I have just, but I think that comes more from it being a complicated game more than, it's not really their fault, but
Right.
there's a lot of times where stuff just happens and it's like you're not quite sure why unless you're very familiar with the game, but things will just start moving around and happening and you're like, okay, why did that all just happen? That kind of stuff. And um, but whatever, that's fine. Once you learn the game, that's not a big deal. But just
Right.
the fact that it didn't have multiplayer just was like, all right. Once they add multiplayer, which they say they're still working on, I fully expect to pick it back up and start playing it again. So
Okay.
um, but at this point in time, it's just I have not played it since it came out. I think in October, and I played it in October, and I don't think I played it since then. That was it. And then,
Okay.
so Brass, on the other hand, um, is pretty awesome. Brass is a
It's
really
so
good game.
pretty. It's so
It
pretty.
looks really nice. They changed the um, oh, what's the word? I guess UI. I mean, they didn't stick with in the game. All your factories and everything are on chits, and they're double sided, and they like changed the way that works, and they made it like this cool kind of system on the iPad where you can see what things are and whatever.
Okay.
It's just cool that they switched stuff around to make it work on an iPad screen, and that was cool. So UI wise, it's great. The gameplay is good. The UI is good enough that it's not gonna. Um, I mean, I'm challenged by it, but I suck at Brass. But so it's fine for me, and it has an online multiplayer. What it does not have is the ability to have friends or set up games with people you
Okay.
know in multiplayer. So that is another reason why that died. And I guess that's kind of one of the things I'm noticing this year in games is like none of them
Coup had it.
who had it. Yeah, and
I'm just teasing.
that's true.
I think
But
Santiago de Cuba was Game Center. Anyway, but sorry.
yeah, um, but I guess I just looking at like last year and just some of the games that came out and how nice they all worked. I don't know. Maybe we're getting spoiled, um, but I would say so. Steam, I would definitely knock off just because, and that
Okay.
I could see Steam definitely being in our old games that we're still playing next year. I
Right.
could easily say Steam being one of those games that I'm playing a ton of at this time next year. But until they add the online multiplayer, so I can play it with my friends, I'm not that interested in it. So, um, and Brass, likewise, until I can start playing it with my friends, it's sitting on my iPad, and I
Mhm.
haven't played. I played it a bunch when it came out, and I've kind of like, okay, I'm done with the AI, and I don't want to go play strangers. I want to play my friends, so
Right.
it's sitting on my iPad too. So um, now I do know that there's a patch coming out for it that does include private games and stuff. So call me in a week when that goes live, or 2 weeks, whenever it goes live.
Well,
And
I mean, one thing to note is this isn't necessarily, best multiplayer. I think the underlying game there's not the design of the game, but I mean the underlying app there is really good.
it is. I
Um,
thought Brass was great. Yeah, I
so
thought
maybe
they did
we
a
leave
good
it for
job.
now and then battle some
Okay.
of this other stuff out for a little bit. I feel like if we
Okay.
keep the train games off too early, we're gonna get
Just get
murdered like
murdered.
in our
All right.
sleep. I don't know, but
Well, I would definitely, Brass would stick around. I assumed that it was going to go because, well, I know it's also a very
heavy.
um
Yeah.
heavy. Yeah, so the
Something,
audience for it's going to be a lot smaller and stuff. So
right?
I just kind of assumed that that one's going to be one that's not going to make it. So
But I know it's a
so I was
it's. I
kind of
mean,
just
it is a favorite, and I wish it's something that I could bring myself to get more into. Maybe I'll play it like while watching Downton Abbey and like get me kind of into the whole thing. Of course, it's earlier than
uh
Downton Abbey, right? So
I don't know that you can watch anything while you play Brass. I think you need to focus
that's
on
fair.
Brass.
Well, I think when I was trying to learn it, I was like on an airplane and I was like falling asleep because I was tired, whatever. It was like
Yeah,
traveling. I'm like, oh, this is not helping me
right.
stay awake. Uh,
Well, let's leave it because it is a good. I mean,
okay.
I do like it. I gave it
So,
5 stars over on PT, so I mean I can't rip it. So I mean, definitely
that's fair.
they did their job. So
And they're actively supporting it. They've been very uh, communicative. They've got that blog going on that they're
yeah,
updating. I mean,
they
like
do the designer diary. Yeah,
they're really keeping up on it. I feel like.
yeah.
Uh, so I'm gonna offer up to
Do
cut
it, do it.
Picomino. I
What?
that was where my cursor was, but um,
Oh man, you're killing me.
so
Killing me, balls.
so I like the game, but like the aesthetic felt ripped off of Cha Cha Chicken, which I know it's the actual aesthetic of the board game. It's the same artist. I could get all that, but I don't know. I just felt the game's a little on the shallow side.
Um. All right, kill it.
No argument and no defense there.
Well, I like it a lot, and we played it a ton. Pass and play.
Hmm.
It worked great. It
I mean,
was
I
a
think
good
it's a great
card
game for
game,
kids,
and
right? Because
it's
it's pretty
yeah,
simple.
yeah. We played it, yeah, when we were camping. It was totally like we'd sit at the picnic table and play Picamino, and yeah. I mean, it's just it's a good game. The port of it's really good, but it is very simple. I mean, it's not, you know, of all the games up there, it is like the biggest like filler kind of
Yeah. And we're
kind
not
of
necessarily going on weight. I guess I just feel like it didn't stick around in my mind. Like these other ones that remain, except one of them, I feel like ones that either I've continued to play or I wish I was still playing. um,
okay.
uh, but
All
yeah,
right, that's
that's
fine. Yeah.
okay. Do you want to throw one out to discuss?
Well, my next one would be to axe would be Splendor, but that's more because I hate Splendor. So I
So
kind of have a problem with that one just because I don't like the underlying game, which isn't really the app's fault in any way. So I'm not sure how you want to handle that. But
so I'll make a defense, then we can decide, I guess. So I really enjoyed Splendor. I'm not saying it's something I've played every day, but in terms of like well-known games that came out this year, might be the only one, but it just uh, I think it does the interface is good, well done. They didn't do anything super fancy, but it works. Um, whoa, you just drop your mic.
I did, yeah.
uh, and I know it's lacking multiplayer, but I'm not sure this game is a weight of something I'd want to play online. It feels like, again, like the Ticket to Ride problem of like turns are so short, it's hard to play asynchronously and care. Um, in like a week, like I don't want to know how a Splendor game ends in a week. I want to know how it ends now. So I think this game maybe doesn't require that, in my opinion. I also felt like the puzzle stuff that they did is really, really well done and has you think about the game in a new way that you wouldn't normally think about. So for me, it's one of the best board games uh, that came out this year.
Okay. Wow.
But
All right.
but I but
I just the regular game just it does nothing for me at all. Like the only part of the game that I did like was the puzzle part.
hmm,
And that part I was actually like, wow, this is cool. I can actually play Splendor like this.
I,
But
I feel like you're a hipster because you don't like Splendor. Like you're like I'm too cool to like.
yeah, I am. I don't like Catan either. So yeah, bring it.
You don't like Catan like at all?
It's fine, but I'm not
um,
gonna go out and look for a game of it now.
well, let's. Can we leave it now? And can
We can
we
leave it. Yeah, no, you
fight
make good
out?
points. I know it's a good port. I mean, it's definitely quality, and um, you know, that's the part. And I wrote a review of this one as well, and that was my big problem was, I even talked about it in the review. How do I review something that I hate, I
Dislike
don't enjoy,
that.
but the thing that is bringing that to me is actually quite good. So
Right.
that's fine. We can leave it on there for now.
So I think since I made a defense, I probably have to throw up something else. So I would think I really enjoyed Santiago de Cuba, but I feel like with everything else that remains on this list, I know what the big fights are going to be on this list, and
Do you?
I'm pretty sure I know what the
Okay.
two games are that we're going to end up with. I don't know. I mean, I'd love Splinter to be there, but I don't know if it's going to make it. But we'll fight that out in a minute. But I don't know. I feel like Santiago de Cuba was really fun, and it's a really good game. It's one that I kind of want to buy in physical form because I feel like it's got strategy to it, but not too crazy of strategy.
Yeah. No, I was surprised by it. I thought it was a great game, and I really knew nothing about it before I picked it up digitally.
So I
Um,
really liked it. I just don't know if
yeah.
it's going to hold up against the rest of this list.
Um, yeah, I would say. I mean, it came out very early in 2015, and
Right.
to be honest, I have not
Gone
played
back.
it probably in a long time. So
Right.
that should tell you right there that it doesn't have the staying power. But I think it might have done what the publisher wanted, which is get me interested. Where if I see it pop up in an auction or something, I might actually pick it up. Or if I see it at my FLGS, I'll pick it up. But
Yeah, now I'm thinking I remember really wanting to get it, and I didn't. So now I need to go do that.
yeah, I don't even know if it's. I don't even know if it's in
In
print or
print.
anything anymore.
Well,
I
I'm
have
gonna
no
Google it
idea.
because I
So
got two computers in front of me. So,
I'm looking it up too. So
but okay, we'll cut it for now. Toys and games.
it's been out for a while. Geez, I didn't know it was a.
Oh, it's Eagle Griffin too. Um, yeah, I think it's an older game, but yeah. Anyway, it's really good. Highly
Yeah,
recommended.
yeah, definitely.
I
It
mean, we're
was
down to
fun.
the last 5, and all of these are games that you should download if you haven't downloaded them yet. So, but yeah. All right. What do we want to fight about next?
Well, I would. Okay, I'm gonna throw Coup on
The chopping block.
the chopping block. We've said all of its praises. I don't think we need to rehash it, but um, I guess I would say just from I don't I don't know. When I think of like a best board game port, I think of something that I want to sit down and play like a board game, and Coup doesn't feel like that to me. So,
Mm.
and again, that's the game's fault, not the app's fault, I guess. But it's just the way the game is.
And it's so cutthroat. It's not relaxing. There's not a lot of thought
Yeah,
that goes into it. I mean,
I don't think Xenoshift is relaxing either.
oh my gosh.
Um,
But I think that game's definitely on this list. Um, so in
but
my mind, the two
I don't
games
know.
so I see your point. Part of me feels like it because of what it's already won in terms like of what we've already said about it. I feel like in terms of overall quality, it's one of the better board game ports.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm
But
saying. Is I don't
but I
know
see
that.
your point of like
Yeah,
I don't know.
if I'm gonna sit down, I guess, and to play a board game on my, I consider that more like a little 3 minute. It's almost like it's a casual game more than a board game. Like you could have given me Coup, and I would have totally not known it was a board game unless you were like, "Oh, did you know you could buy this as a board game too?" And I'd be like, "Oh, really?" Like, I would have no idea. Whereas the other ones look and feel like board games and whatever. So I don't know. I
Okay.
just and like I said, that's not Coup's fault. because it's a good
The
game.
nature of the game,
Just,
right?
but
And I
we've
think we
talked about all the pluses of it, all the things it's good at. We already give it awards for.
awards for.
So
That's fair. All right. I sorry. Will I will give you that. I think it makes sense. Okay.
all right, so now it's gonna get interesting.
So just to recap, the three games that remain on our list are Brass, Splendor. I keep saying it in a weird way, and Xenoshift. We haven't talked about Xenoshift yet because I think
We don't need to.
yeah. Well, so I can talk about. I mean, I think you've played more of it than I have, but Xenoshift is a game from Cool Mini or Not that just came out of nowhere. I thought, like, I guess they were
Yeah,
selling the card game at Gen Con, but I didn't see it. I don't know, whatever. I heard no one talk about it. But it's this
no,
deck building kind of tower defense game where you're trying to protect a space colony from bugs like what's
yeah,
that, Starship Troopers or
yeah,
Starcraft or all that kind
yeah,
of stuff.
yeah.
Um, and they can really continue to improve it, right, in terms of content and
Yeah, I mean, when it came
uh,
out, it was well, it was I had a real hard time playing it. It was
yeah,
um, the UI was bad. I mean, like it wouldn't you pinch it to zoom and it wouldn't pinch to where your fingers were. It would pinch to the center of the screen all the time. It was hard to navigate. It was like things were like lighting up and highlighting on the screen, and cards were moving around and not telling you what was going on, and it was just a crazy like I'm
right,
like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. But once I forced myself to start like, okay, I'm going to learn it, I'm going to figure it out, and then I figured it out, and I was like, whoa, this is actually a really good game. And then they started to update it like weekly, and that's
right,
the thing that blew me away. It was like Cool Mini or Not, and I don't know who the developer is actually. I don't know if Cool Mini's actually doing it or
right.
if they're just publishing it. But theirs is the name on the iTunes page, so I'm not quite sure. But whoever's doing it, if it's them or another developer, I mean, it's seriously like every Wednesday or every
There's
other
a
Wednesday you get an update, and they're not like little. Oh, here's a little tiny update where the only patch note is bug fixes. It's like a huge list of stuff that they fixed and changed or
right.
added.
Would
Um,
you say that the UI has improved since those initial plays, right? I mean, I feel like
oh,
it's
the UI is fine now. It's completely
yeah.
playable. It works. It works great now. So you can even play it on an iPhone now. They just had an update a week or two ago now that makes it so iPhones actually work, which I could not get it to work on an iPhone before that. So,
Mhm.
um, I
I
mean,
remember
yeah, it's
trying,
just
but yeah,
you
it's tough.
could, but it was a struggle, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
it was a
you
struggle on
wanted to do
iPad.
it,
Like,
yeah.
like everything was
I don't,
existing on the same plane, and it like would pan and zoom, and
yes,
it was just yeah,
they definitely took the literal approach to a board game where, well, here's all the cards in the game, we'll just throw them on the table. So
right.
the interface looks like you're sitting at a table, which is probably not the best way to do a game where you have 20 cards up face up on a table.
Equipment and characters
Yeah,
and enemies.
right.
Yeah.
So they're all super tiny. You can't read them. You got to keep panning, zooming, and yeah, it was brutal. But they fixed it. I mean, everything works great now. And I've played it more than anything else on my iPad, and it is just a fun game. Fun enough that I went out and I bought the physical version of it.
Oh,
So
is it? Have you tried it on the tabletop? I'm just curious.
I have not. It is sitting on my games to be played pile, which is staring at me actually right now. So
How they collapse on you. Like if this was the Twilight Zone, it would like fall over and crush you,
it
and it'd be like
should, yeah.
this. And Rod Sterling would come on and say something about how so many laid hopes and dreams or something. Anyway, uh,
I don't know. I For me on this list, Xenoshift would be my winner, mainly just because it's a great game. It's fun. I just love playing it. It's a blast. So,
so it's definitely a lock for the last two. So should we battle out between Brass and Splendor?
well, I think we are going to
We're
have to
pretty
arm wrestle
split.
for this one. So,
I think we are pretty split. I mean, if there were a category where it would make sense to have two runners up, this would be it.
That's true.
But
Actually,
if
that
we
could be
want
a
to keep
bit
fighting,
valid. Um,
I mean, do we feel good? My only concern about Xenoshift is that, I mean,
is what?
I need to go back and play it. But do you think that it's today it is accessible? Like I feel like I don't know, Brass is complicated, but in terms of UI and stuff, it's extremely accessible. Splendor, obviously, very simple game, but
Yeah.
very good AI, UI.
Uh,
Um,
I
but do you
think
feel like a new player today going into Xenoshift is going to be able to hop in a way that they couldn't have, you know?
I would say yes because I have gotten feedback from people who have done just that. So
Okay,
um, people who have said I wouldn't have picked this up if you would have told me, and I grabbed it, and it's awesome. And so I know these are people who have not played the card game; they had no idea what they're getting into, and obviously they're not getting hampered by the UI anymore. So I think they're able to get into it and start playing. Uh,
okay.
so I don't know. I guess yeah, I don't see that being a problem. But
Well then, yeah. Well then, yeah. I mean, I really like Splendor, but I think Xenoshift has the edge
if
here.
you want to
So
do Splendor number one and Xeno Shift two, I'm fine with that. That's fine with me.
I think I don't know. I think you're right. I
Because
think Xenoshift might
all three
be
of these games are
really
pretty
good.
well done. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, let's go with Xenoshift. Oh, my bolding didn't. Oh, because I'm on the wrong. So, uh, yeah. So for best board game port of the year, we have Xenoshift with as the winner, with runners up, Splendor and Brass.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
sound good?
yeah, I got my Xeno Shift. You can have your Splendor for number two. That's fine.
Oh, I feel like with runners up, they are
You just want to keep
equally
both of them
runners
here.
up.
All
Yeah.
right, we can do that.
I mean,
And
we could get rid of Brass, but I feel like Brass again. It's a game that I struggled to get into, but that was for a personal and attention deficit reason.
yeah, yeah.
So, uh, but I feel like to not like honor it in this
No,
position would be wrong. So,
another thing too is both Xenoshift and Brass are both new devs out there too, which is
right,
kind of
which
cool.
which
Yeah,
we need.
yeah, definitely. It's nice to see.
All right, so the final category, and we are going a little longer. Are you okay for this, or we can?
Yeah, but
Okay,
let's plow through this one. This one should be easy.
yeah. So we're gonna come up with around 5 games of the year,
Okay.
uh, in a ranked order. We can define what those games are and then rank them. If we can get close to like here's the 5 remaining, and then start ranking them after that, that's probably the easiest way to do it.
Okay.
Um, and we can. There's some of these that probably are going to get blown away pretty quickly here.
Pretty quick.
So we can just start knocking those ones off. But
Okay.
all right, so the list here is Coup, Splendor, Xenoshift, Card Crawl, Capitals, Deathwatch, Legends of Grimrock, Lara Croft Go, Magic Duels Origins, Sid Meier Starships, which is going to be the first to go. You Must Build a Boat, Heroes of Might and Magic, and Sorcery 3, and Magic Puzzle Quest.
Okay.
So, do you want to call one up first? Maybe don't pick an easy one.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
pick Sid Meier Starships.
All right. Well, the reason I put that there, I really enjoyed that game. I thought
I
it
know
was
you did.
fun Civ Lite on your mobile device, but I see its flaws very clearly. I just am okay with them. I see the flaws in Civilization itself, for example, but these are much
Whoa, whoa,
worse.
whoa. There are no flaws in
Oh,
Civilization.
okay. I'm sorry. I never said that. I'll
Whoa.
watch out for the
Yeah.
thought police to come.
Yeah.
Okay.
Watch your mouth.
So I'll
Okay.
throw up
Good,
another
good, good.
pretty easy one.
Yeah.
Actually, I like a lot of these, but I mean, okay, I'll
Yeah,
take an
there.
easy pickings. Magic Duels Origins. Again,
Yep.
I just want to mention the best Magic game so far. The campaign
Yep.
actually was interesting,
Yep.
but now
I
hold up to these other games.
I'd say Magic Puzzle Quest is the same thing. It's good for what it is, but it's not one of the best games of all time. That shouldn't be on this list. So
Right. But definitely if you're in the mood for a free to play match puzzler thing.
it's good for what it is exactly. It's not up there with
Any of
any
those.
of those games that are up there. So
Okay. So speaking of match threes,
you
you
know,
must build a boat.
you don't like? Did you not like that game?
I loved 10 million. Is that what it was?
Uh,
Um,
a one and a lot of zeros. Yes.
it was really, I don't know. I didn't get into You Must Build a Boat in the same way.
Okay.
It might have just been timing and life. I don't know. But so
I
I'm willing
love
to let
that.
it stick around for a little longer.
Um,
But
well, I mean, okay, that's fine, but it's obviously it's not going to be in the top five. If you didn't like it, I don't think we can put a game in the top five that one of us didn't
no,
really like.
I liked it. I just for whatever reason I didn't get into it. I don't know why. So we can leave it for now. Do you want
Okay,
to toss up something to replace it then that you
Capital,
killed? Which one?
Capitals.
Uh, okay.
I hated that game because I couldn't beat you.
No one can beat me at Capitals. No, I'm just kidding.
Therefore,
There were some
therefore,
people that
I
I
deleted
lost,
it immediately.
and hopefully they talk in the comments. I don't know. I love Capitals. It was one of those like, hey, my wife will actually play this mobile game with me games. Uh, but I mean, if you really didn't like it, I feel like it's hard to see it staying here. Um, I
Well,
feel like
all right. Let's keep it then.
it was a well
Let's
designed game though, right? I feel like it was like,
it was fine. Yeah, I thought it
all right.
was
So I'm gonna toss up Warhammer 40K Death Watch Tyranid Invasion. Is that the whole title?
part three,
Pardon
First Blood.
me. I don't know. I think it was a really great game. It didn't hit me the same way Warhammer Quest did. I guess I like fantasy
Yeah,
Warhammer more. So,
yeah. I would agree with that. It
all
didn't
right.
it did not hit the trigger. I would go with my turn next. I will say Legends of Grimrock. I thought it was a very good port, and I really liked it on my iPad. But
Hmm.
it also is like a 4 or 5 year old game that I was playing on my iPad. That you know, it was cool that it was on my iPad, but it was really cool. Like 4 years ago when I played it on my PC, I guess
Yeah.
so
I
it
guess
was
my
that's
first. Go ahead. Sorry.
no. Go ahead. What is your first? What your first
This is
love?
my first experience here was
Oh,
this game.
okay. So you didn't play it on PC or
I
anything?
ended up, I think I probably own it on Steam,
Okay.
probably because it's like thrown in humble bundles all the time. But I
Right.
never really ended up playing it there. But that being said, I see that point. Like to give it like one of the best games of the year is kind of like, hey, that's a game that's really old.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
guess if it was something like, because I mean, I think when XCOM came out, we kind of did say it was one of the best games of the year,
yeah,
and but that was only really like I think 6 or 7 months ahead of that, so it wasn't that big of a spread. But
right.
but
And I see your point. Like,
XCOM's a little more complex, and it feels like a PC game, whereas Legends of Grimrock almost feels like an iPad game now because it's kind of dated and the graphics aren't popping, whatever.
right,
But I don't know.
that's fair.
Okay.
While I know we're trying to get done here, but do we want to add anything on here that isn't on here? For example, that won awards like Don't Starve or To Be or Not to Be or Her
I thought
Story.
about it, but I kind of was assuming that they would have been just knocked off. So,
Okay.
but I did. I mean, I thought about Don't Starve because I do love Don't Starve. Um,
Well, I think
and
it definitely ranks higher than some of these, so maybe we can put it on there for now. And
okay,
then I don't know.
sure.
Sorry, I'm not trying to keep you here all night. I know it's late.
No, that's fine. No,
Uh,
I moved my computer now, so I'm downstairs, so I'm not bothering anybody, so I can talk
okay.
all night now. So this is fine.
Well, I'm gonna start getting text messages, I think, in a minute. But Her Story, I don't know.
Um, I really liked it. I don't like voting for it because you have not played it. So I would say
Yeah,
that we
let's
need
leave it
to
off for now, I
leave it
guess.
off.
And then To Be or Not to Be. Do you want to add that one on?
Um, God, I really like To Be or Not to Be, but I guess I would say if we have like Sorcery 3 on that list and stuff, then
It's gonna kill
it's
To
gonna
Be or Not
get,
to Be.
yeah, it's not the best interactive fact fiction game that's on the list, so why
Okay.
bother? It's gonna get chopped off. So
So I guess I need to offer one up then. It's like killing one of my children, but which isn't always so hard. to think about that. I'm just
You
kidding.
know, fun
But
stuff.
Heroes of Might and Magic 3.
Oh, all
It's
right. I was
no, you're
gonna let
not.
you have that. I was gonna let you have that one. Because I like it too. So,
Well, if we want to
but
keep
yeah,
it, I was trying to be generous here. I mean, I guess I'd rather see Capitals go before that one. I mean, again, this is like a really same reasons why we said Grimrock could be applied here, except that like
true.
this is really, really, really old. So I mean, it's gonna look that way. I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
a fulfillment of all our hopes and dreams. I feel like finally having Heroes
Well,
of Might and Magic game.
and as good of a game as Legends of Grimrock is, I mean, Heroes of Might and Magic 3 is one of the classic PC games of all time.
Right.
So that kind of helps it out a little bit more than Legend of Grimrock. I mean, at the end of the day, Legend of Grimrock's just an RPG, whereas Heroes of Might and Magic 3 is something special.
Grand
So
strategy game sort of with
yeah,
RPG stuff in it. Okay, so let's hang on to it for now, I guess. So
we
I
got to
guess
get rid of something.
I'm ready to let Capitals go.
All right, bye,
I'm
Capitals.
ready.
I'm not crying a tear.
Okay.
All right,
Um,
Lara Croft Go. I've not played, so that's one
yeah,
that
it's a really great game, and I put Laura Croft Go, which is pretty awesome.
That's the one.
Typo.
That's why I didn't play it because that's what I was searching for on
Yeah,
the
and you couldn't
App
find it.
Store,
I've
and I
actually, if you
couldn't
put
find
in
it.
Laura Croft Go, if I were choosing the search terms, I would put Croft as one of them because I would be.
I'm gonna do that right
Uh,
now.
but yeah, I agree with you. If you haven't played it, it's a really excellent game. As compared to Hitman Go, it's a little outside of our realm a little bit. It's a little more. It's
Okay.
very much puzzly. So I'm okay with letting it fade away.
Okay.
Uh, so can I? No, never mind. I don't want to have that fight yet. We'll
You're
wait on
not
that one.
gonna say card crawl.
No. I think Card Crawl is almost a lock.
Okay, I was gonna say if you were gonna say that, I was gonna be like, wow.
No. So this is gonna sound crazy because I just won our board game of the year, but
Shift
Xenoshift at
before Splendor or Coup? Huh.
okay.
I'm shaky on that.
That's crazy talk. All right, never mind. What else can I bring up there? I really like Coup, and I know it didn't win our board game, but I think of the games, it's definitely up there. I mean, I would bring up You Must Build a Boat again at this point, I guess.
All right, get rid of You Must Build a Boat.
Okay.
I dumped it.
All right.
I can only argue so much about that one.
Oh, okay.
It's fun. I know it's dumb fun. So,
all right, your turn to cause me pain. No,
so we got to get rid of 2 more games on here. Oh my goodness.
Should we reread the list where we're at?
Okay, we're Coup, Splendor, Xenoshift, Card Crawl, Heroes of Might and Magic 3, Sorcery 3, and Don't Starve. Boy. I mean, my first go-to is going to be those first 2 on the list, but I think you're going to fight tooth or nail to keep them.
But I don't really want to let anything else go. I mean, the only one I would say is somewhat easy pickings now is Don't Starve, just because it is a recent port, and
Okay.
this wasn't the first year I played it.
Okay.
I do think the iPad version's great, but I don't know. But again, if like say it was 2 years ago and FTL were on this list, I'd be saying something different. So maybe that's just in terms of personal preference.
Well, I can say that Don't Starve is as good of a port as it is and stuff. Has not had the impact that FTL or XCOM has had on me for ports. So,
Okay.
so yeah. So maybe you're right. Maybe I mean it did win best port, but you're right. It probably isn't up there with those kind of games to warrant being game of the year. So, axe it.
Okay.
It's
You
gone.
sure? Okay.
I already axed it.
I
You
forgot that
bring
it won
back.
best port.
Yeah.
So I know the two. I don't know. So the question is,
Or Heroes of Might and Magic 3. That's our other.
right? But I feel like we both love that game.
I love that game, but like I said when we talked about it before, I still play it on my PC.
PC
more
before
than I
you'd play it on
my
your.
iPad. Yeah.
So
So
I find it really hard to get like PC time like that. So for me, like having it on iPad is great, but that's a very personal reason.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, so is it
So it's between that and Coup, or that
two?
and Splendor.
Right.
Which
So
one of those do you
I
think
think
we're in?
I think, and I know we differ on this, but I think Coup is definitely in this list.
All right.
I would more easily give up Splendor, but I'm wondering how we feel between Splendor and Heroes of Might and Magic. And I know they're both games that you didn't really enjoy playing on mobile either way.
Well,
So,
my heart tells me that I would keep Heroes, um, but
you know,
I think if we're talking about the best app and what it brought to the iPad or phone or whatever, I mean, I think Splendor is probably the better actual.
but this is really our list, right? Like we can decide like what we feel, and we have honored Splendor as one of the best board game ports, and maybe that's where it lives.
I
I don't
wonder
know.
if maybe Heroes of Might and Magic moves over to the thing we might, I don't know if we still have time to talk about, but
Oh
might move
yeah,
over to
our
uh,
non-board game
right,
recommendation.
a recommendation.
Yeah,
Um,
I was thinking of going a little more far afield there, like stuff
yeah, I
that,
know, but I
but
mean, it kind of fits, and I mean, you're right. All six games that we have in here are all. We haven't even mentioned Sorcery 3. I think we all knew right away that that's not going anywhere, right?
right. And Card Crawl is amazing,
Yeah.
and Xenoshift actually is well done. I was just trying to stir the pot, and I think Coup really deserves to be here, just in terms of everything that it
Let's get rid
represents.
of HOMM and put it over in like a recommended list then.
You think so?
I think so. I think
Okay. I
I
don't know
think
why I'm fighting this, but
for our blog, I think that's probably the best move. I mean, I don't know if you noticed the title of our blog, because readers
it's
like to
true.
remind us of the title of our blog is iOS board.
iOS board games, but my only thought is that like yeah, I think Splendor is
Well,
a
then
board game
you got to
port.
pick which one you're gonna kill.
No, no, you
I'm happy killing both of them. So
and just make it a list of four.
yeah,
Uh,
so it's up to
so
you if you want to.
I mean, I think you're probably right. It's better fitting to have Splendor on there. I guess I'm just saying I think Splendor is a really good board game port, but was it one of the
Did it?
games of the year for us? I know I'm being pretty indecisive, which is my nature. Uh, I don't know. What's your vote of those two to cut?
Um, I would probably cut Coup.
Oh, I meant of Splendor and like you're
I
adding.
wanted to, yeah, I wanted to throw that monkey wrench in. Um,
uh,
between Splendor and Heroes,
yeah. I mean, I guess we need to take
I
into
would probably
account.
dump Heroes.
Okay, and I think you know what? I think you're right.
I
Heroes
think
is
just the
not a
polish
good
else.
port.
Yeah, exactly. I think just the polish and everything else that Splendor has is.
All right, so I'm
I'd rather play Heroes of Might and Magic than Splendor, but I mean I can see the quality is definitely there with Splendor as opposed to
all right. So now we have
Heroes.
a list of five.
And now what do we do with them?
Now we could we can rank them.
Oh God.
Well, I think we could probably both agree on a number one.
Yeah, I think so.
I
I mean,
would
my
say,
number one would be Card Crawl, but
yep. So I agree with that. So I think we can lock that in as number
okay.
one. So uh, after that, I think that Splendor really did just get in on the skin of its teeth here in my conversation. So I think that could be a five.
Skin of its themeless teeth. Yes. All right.
Hey, you're collecting diamonds and
Uh huh. Yeah.
jewels or something.
There's something. Um. Yep. All right. But my vote. Are we gonna go up from the bottom? Is that what we're gonna do? Then my vote for four
Well,
would be Coup. But
see, I would put Xenoshift at four, but I know that we disagree on that and will for eternity.
The problem is Xenoshift. I can sit down for like 20 minutes and like enjoy, like absorb myself in it and play like a board game. You know, I can just sit there and just play like a game. Whereas
Right.
Coup feels like I'm playing Angry Birds with my friends. It's a casual, you
So
know.
in in relation to that, for me, Coup felt like returning to the glory days of Ascension, where
But even Ascension, I guess
I
I felt was deeper and had more there.
than
But
the game. Yeah, I guess I just meant like you always had pings coming in that you had to turn,
true,
throughout the
that's
day. And
true. Yeah, that's true.
but I feel like we're arguing over straws here. So it sounds like sorcery is number two. Is that what we're saying, or no?
Uh,
You're saying Xeno Shift is number two. All right, I got it.
I was gonna head that way, but I could easily give it to Sorcery because I mean
Like
Sorcery was phenomenal. So,
for me, Q is two, but I know that that doesn't
oh my
fly very
god!
well. But we're at an impasse. So
So then give it to the one neither of us picked. Let's give it to Sorcery. Make that two.
I just feel it's weird that our one and two, neither of them, well, are actual
Our
board
board
games.
games.
Yeah, but I mean, I do think Car Crawl by far is the number one. Like, if you don't own that game, there's something wrong with you. Uh,
Yeah, that
sorry.
came out in, I want to say April,
Yeah.
and I'm still playing it all the time. Like like I do the daily dungeon every day. Well, unless I forget, but most days I do the daily dungeon, and then I'll still play like I did the daily dungeon. Now I'm gonna play like 3 games in a row of just regular, um, card crawl, just to goof around.
Right.
And they
And
keep adding more cards to go
then
get,
they just
and
add new modes and stuff like that as well.
they added some new stuff where you can play. You can make your own dungeons and send them out there and play other people's dungeons, and
Oh, that's cool. All right. I'm gonna have
yeah,
to
I
hop back
mean
in. It's been a little
it's
while.
pretty cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with card crawl. I can't say anything bad about card crawl.
Nope.
It's
And
just
the design's cool. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, I guess we're just praising number one because we don't want to talk about the other ones. But I could see Xenoshift. I mean, as our board game of the
No,
year,
you
I
can't.
think
Don't
number
lie.
two. Well,
Don't
no, I
lie.
think it is one of the deepest and most interesting experience released this year, and has had great support throughout. So I'm
That it has.
so two
Oh
Xenoshift.
my god, look at that. I
I would
win.
love Coup to be three, but we can fight
But
it
you know
out.
it's not
Sorcery.
as good as Sorcery 3. So
I don't know. I think it's one of the best board gaming experiences of this
all
entire year. I
right.
mean,
All right,
the
make it three.
bluffing.
Do it.
All right. I'm just
Do it.
trying to wear you down until you want to go to sleep, and then it'll just, you know.
It's got we got there a while ago. Yeah. So
All right. So here we go. This is the list. Number one, game of the year of our games of the year is Card Crawl. Number two is Xenoshift. Number three is Coup. Number four is Sorcery 3. And number five is Splendor.
Splendor.
Splendor. Sorcery 3. Yeah, I pronounced it with exclamation point. Actually,
There you go.
technically it's Sorcery 3.
3.
So, cool. Well, that we did it.
All
I don't
right.
know
So
if
now
it's
we have
pretty
6
late.
other categories. Let's go into
Yeah,
our
exactly. So we also have a category, but we'll probably just put this right on the site. We just wanted to
yeah.
recommend one or two like recommendations that aren't direct board games. They're just like mobile games we played that we really liked this year.
Yes.
So
We
we'll
talked
just do
about
that.
this. So all
We
right.
have talked about most of them. The only one we haven't talked about is Last Horizon, a game where you
Yeah.
fly a spaceship and you land on planets and you have to do like reverse thrust, like real spaceship sort of kind of. Anyway,
I have to look that up. I haven't played that yet. So
yeah, it's pretty fun. So I'm gonna go play Star Trek Timelines, I guess.
ooh, have fun. Have
We'll
fun
see.
watching the gameplay itself.
You know what? That's what I live for. So
But you do get Sulu quotes, and Kirk says Kirk here every time you click on Kirk, so it makes it
does
worth
Sulu
it.
say "Oh my" every time you click on it?
No, I forget what he says, but they all have like the same quote that they say every time you click on them. Which
I bet like the rare Sulu character says "Oh
oh,
my."
I'm sure there's some different characters that you have to unlock it.
Well, I'm gonna go throw some money at that game. So,
Enjoy. All right.
all right, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we will
I'm gonna
have
go to
these up
bed.
on the site pretty soon. Thank
All
you.
right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.